Johnny, what's going on, my man? Good to see you, bud. Good to see you in chat. How we doing? Let's go get some of these raid runs done early because we have a lot. There's so much to talk about right now. It's actually kind of like crazy. Justin, what's going on, man? Hello there, my friend. Gonna do some raid while we wait. Do some raiding while we wait around for everybody else to join up. So make sure you guys like the stream if you are here. Swiftblade, what's going on? Daniela, what's going on? Dude, Justin, listen, man. If you make it to Kyber and fight me, I will die a happy man. But by the time that you fight me, I will probably have the full Lord Vader team. Kaya, yeah, this is absolutely a crazy day. You know, I gotta say, I have to say, I'm extremely excited for, like, this. I think this is the first time that one of these updates has hit, and I actually was, like, home for it. Like, normally this would come tomorrow when I'm at work. So I'm, like, super pumped that it's now. Been there, done that. What's going on, boss? Okay, go here. Got 350 speed on your disguised clone trooper, Swiftblade. Nice, dude. Connor, what's going on, dude? Everybody's just filling in. How surprised should you be? Johnny, it's pretty big news. I actually think there's a lot of really good... I gotta say, I'm pretty ecstatic because there's a lot of, like, really, I'd argue, sneakily good stuff. Yeah, it's definitely a lot to, you know, Road Melon. I would agree. I would agree. Yeah, no, he's back. He's back. He's back for the update, which I think was kind of, you know, good on their part. Had to get the main creator back for that. I mean, that's fair. Would I consider 13 million endgame? Yeah, probably. Yeah, there is. I would agree, RoboMelon. I think I found like one or two things that I thought were kind of sneakily bad. But I think overall I'm pretty happy about this, you know, update overall. Okay, go here. Man, yeah, you guys' chat is popping off. This is chaos. Yeah. Z, yeah, I wouldn't worry about the spreadsheet. Yeah, guys, we've got, I trust me, I am going to get into all this. I wanted to do a raid run. We've got a lot more people on already, so I can get started here once I inevitably fail this. Okay, get that stun off of you. Oh my gosh. All right, go after that one. There we go. But I have to say, you guys will hear me say this a lot. Yeah, RoboMelon, I was thinking the exact same thing. I saw that. I know other players have kind of talked about this, but I think that's a trade-off. If everybody's being honest, I feel like that's a trade-off we should all be willing to make. Like, I'm willing to make that trade-off. Oh, boy. Thank you. Okay, go here, and that should do it. I think the bad thing is raid changes. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't, Robomelon, if we go back, I don't think, we didn't necessarily lose the Shard Shop currency from Galactic Challenges. You're buying other things with that. I don't think that's a fair take. So we're through that raid run, kind of delayed, and we've got a lot of people on already. Make sure you guys like the stream, please. Please like the stream. Make sure you guys are, we're commenting. I'll try to answer questions as they come up, but I want to get into kind of this news here. So if you've been living under a rock, we're gonna read through the game changes. We did get the kits for Maz. We did get the kits for Kicks. The kit for Kicks and the kit for Maz. I'm not really worried about trying to explain those right now. Those are things that, fine. We don't need to act on them yet. But the game changes is where I think there's a lot more meat to be discussed. So let's kind of pull up the screen capture here. And what I'm going to do is actually pull this puppy over here. And then let's go like this. Let's go with game changes. Okay. Yep. And then go back to the live stream. All right. So let's go here. Now, obviously, ooh, chat. Yeah, chat's definitely taking a hit there, but that's okay. I'll have to fix the background on the chat box. Let me see if I can do that. Text color. Yeah, I'm going to have to think of something there. Oops. There we go. The red chat maybe looks better. We'll have to play around with chat color, but now you guys can at least see the red colors here. All right, so let's get started, guys. So we have a massive update coming to the Holo table. We will be introducing a brand new item and some fundamental changes to how you power up your roster. Let's get started for the first major piece of information. I have to say, I am pumped about this. I have said that Capital Games should do this for years, and they are finally doing it. Relics at 4 stars. Yes, you read that right. We've removed or drastically reduced star requirements on gear pieces, so characters can now reach relic levels at only 4 stars. The only requirement is applying gear pieces at gear 12 needs a character to be level 85, 4 stars. New relic star requirements. While you can get to relics earlier, there are now star requirements for higher relic levels. Relic 3 requires 5 stars. Relic 4 requires 6. Relic 5 plus requires 7. I'm a big fan of this. I think it's awesome because it does seem I do think this is a big change. This is something that there's a lot of teams where there is a hey buddy. There's a significant buddy, Bubba, come on. There's a bunch of teams out there that can be really, really good, but to get all the characters to 7-star, to get them to relics is a huge ask. To now be able to get them to relics before they're fully starred is awesome. And the other characters that I think this really fits well with is if you look at, say, my, like Scorch. I will be able to take Scorch to, what is that, Relic 4, right? I'll at least have him at Relic 4, which, while Relic 4 doesn't sound great, it's still a hell of a lot better than Gear 11. And particularly right now in the meta, where having the full clone team with Lord Vader sort of requires a much different team to beat than not. So in my mind, this is a change that I'm really excited for. I think this will really benefit players, particularly if you're trying to more keep up with the newer content. Having some of those characters be at relics before they're fully starred out is really, really nice. So, thumbs up there. This is a really good, benefit. And yes, you will be allowed to use these characters in the raid. The only thing I will say with the raid is I think the raid still requires 5 stars. So you'll still need to get to 5-star, but you won't at least have to go to 7-star, and that's a hell of a lot easier. The big one here is getting to 5-star. That's your line for Datacrons. You need to be Relic 3 to fully take advantage of Datacrons, which I think that was Zoltar who brought that up. So yeah, I'm pretty happy about this. I think this will be retroactive. Again, I'm not quite sure if it's it's just going to enter the game. So I don't know, I don't know what they mean by this will be retroactive. Unless are they trying to say it's going to impact all characters? I would just assume this is a brand new thing and boom, tomorrow, whenever this goes live, I'll be able to take my Scorch. So I think that's kind of where we're at. So, yeah, I think this is pretty solid. This is really, really good. Next, Lightspeed Tokens LSTs. Lightspeed Bundle Tokens are a new consumable that instantly upgrades a character to a specific power level. Think of it like an item that will boost specific characters similar to Hyperdrive and Lightspeed Bundles. How they work. One note, TB, I will talk about the reigning Club World Champions Chelsea Football Club. I will make sure that I rub it in to every other team, particularly fans of the Arsenal, to make sure that I rub it in that we are world champions and that you cannot take that away from me for the next 1,450 days or so. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. So, sorry, side note, somebody mentioned Chelsea, and I have to rub it into anybody who's not a Chelsea fan that for the next 1,400 some odd days, I get to say that I'm world champions. So, Lightspeed tokens will come in 5 tiers. At tier 1 is Carbonite, level 85, 3 stars, gear 10, ability level 3. Tier 2, Bronzium level 4-star, gear 12, ability level 4. Tier 3, 5-star, relic 1, ability level 5. Erodium, 6-star, relic 3, ability level 6. Kyber, 7-star, relic 5, ability level 7. That is crazy. To think that you're going to get a potentially relic 5 character just by expending one of these things is awesome. This is a huge change. I think this will really help. I look at it as the only thing I'll say, and again, we need to read a little bit more. Let's read a little bit more before I keep going here. Don't hoard. A Lightspeed token is tied to a specific list of characters when released. And that list will never be updated to include units released later. So there's no reason to save them for a future character drop. Additionally, in order for us to eventually remove old and unused Lightspeed bundle or Lightspeed tokens from data, all Lightspeed tokens in your inventory expire exactly 6 months after the date you acquired them. Use them when you get them. Era locked. Initially, Lightspeed tokens can only be used for characters from the Legacy era. Everything before the era of apprentices that started November 19th, 2024 with Hu Yang. Generally, tokens are for units from eras that ended at least a year ago. So that's something to give right there that, okay, it's going to be for older kinds of characters. I think that's a big one. The next thing is launch factions. So the first Lightspeed tokens available at launch will be for smugglers and separatists. I gotta say, I'm a big fan of that. I'll show you guys my roster, but I'm a big fan of them being smugglers and separatists. Excluded units. You cannot use standard LSTs. Notice they say standard. So there is something, that standard is very, I gotta point this out. This is very important. That right there, standard LSTs, means that they're opening up the door that there will be some sort of Lightspeed token that you can potentially purchase, potentially acquire, that will allow you to get to be used on these types of units. Galactic Legends, Conquest, Journey Guide units. This includes territory battle and raid rewards, and capital ships. These tokens won't apply Zeta or Omicron abilities. Got a useless Lightspeed token. If you get a token but all your eligible characters are already past that upgrade level, you can dismantle it for some rewards. Tier 1 is 10 of each Kyrotech. Tier 2, 20 of each Kyrotech. Tier 3 is 10 Carbonite circuit boards. Tier 4, 5 white signal data, 5 green signal data, 10 Carbonites, 10 Bronziums, 5 Chromiums. Tier 5, 5 white, 5 green, 5 blue signal data, 10 Carbonite circuit boards, 10 Bronzium wiring, 5 Chromium transistors, and 5 Erodium heat sinks. You will find Lightspeed tokens in the store, naturally, and as rewards on the free episode track and the episode pass. We also plan to use them as rewards in other ways in the future. So, I'll tell you what I love about these things. The first thing I actually love is that they say, hey, the first ones will be for smugglers and separatists. I gotta say why I really like this idea of the tokens is because I said a while ago that one of my issues with Lightspeed bundles is there were certain characters that like weren't released in the bundle, and you kind of got to this point where it was, all right, when are they actually going to, what's the word I want to use here? Like, when would you ever get that character released? Like, think about, just for the sake of argument here, we go into the game, think about like the Jedi Master Kenobi requirements. If you went into the Jedi Master Kenobi requirements, we've gotten a Lightspeed bundle with General Kenobi, Negotiator, Mace, Ayla. We've gotten one with Qui-Gon Jinn and Magna Guard. I don't know if Clone Sergeant has been sold. We got one for Watt. General Grievous has not been sold, but he's kind of outside of that realm. Cad Bane we have. Don't think Cody. Jango Fett we have. Shaak Ti, Grandmaster Yoda. But like, when would we ever get one for Bo-Katan Kryze, right? So now you have this potential to get a Lightspeed token that you could use for Bo-Katan Kryze. I'm a big fan of that. I think that's what this is really going to help do. I think that will really help us progress in this game in ways that we weren't able to before. And like I said, it's looking at smugglers and separatists. So when we go to, say, my separatists, I've got a bunch of characters that I would love to update here. I mean, I'm looking at B2 Battle Droid. I'm looking at the Stap, my entire Geonosian faction. So there's a bunch of characters that I can still benefit from, even at 12.8 million galactic power. Then, if you think about smugglers, I don't have nearly as many characters that will benefit, but I will say this. Kira and Han Solo absolutely could benefit, but Veteran Smuggler Chewbacca was just named as a character that you need at Relic 7 for the Galactic Legends Hondo. So now if you have this Lightspeed token, you could take him from Relic maybe 3 to Relic 5, because you may as well. Like, you're going to get more use. Like, it's still going to be worth your while to take those characters who are Relic 3 and move them to Relic 5 before it is to just spend it on the signal data. Like, you're only getting at that Kyber tier. And again, I don't know how often you will or won't get those, but you're only going to get 5 of each kind of signal data at the tier 5 category. So, like, that's not a lot. But using it to go from 3 to 5, you're getting way more than that. The other side to this, though, that I'm happy about it, if you imagine someone like me, let's say I get 5 of these Lightspeed tokens for smugglers, and I just scrap all of them, and I get the equivalent of, 5 characters at Relic 5, I mean, that's ridiculous. So I think this is good that they're going to give out to the whales of the, like the people at the whales of the community, people maybe at my level where we have more of these things built. I think this getting, these extra things, getting a little bit of extra resources that otherwise we wouldn't have gotten is great. But I think for everybody below us who needs these who would benefit from all of this stuff, this is huge, right? This is really, really big. So I very much believe that it's a solid change. I really do like these. I do have a few concerns. One of the big things is Zetas. Many of you are struggling for Zetas as it is right now. This is not going to make it any easier. The other thing too that you've got to kind of bring to mind here when I'm reading through this as well is, again, they said standard. So that means that there's going to be something that will allow you to do stuff like this. And I'm really looking at like those galactic legends. What does that look like? Because of, the whole galactic legend token process, is there going to be some way to potentially get a Lightspeed token that allows you to skip the entire ultimate ticket process for GLs? That would be insane, but they're opening up the door. So, that's a more interesting situation there. The other question I had is with these Lightspeed tokens, and I'm curious, I've seen some people talking about this, is I think how this impacts Lightspeed bundles, I don't think this is a replacement necessarily, but I think it's the next natural step is some players won't buy every single bundle because there's a lot of overlap. But if you saw a Lightspeed token for Separatist for maybe $5, you could buy that $5 one knowing you have a character that you really want to upgrade. So that there's something to think about there. I do want to give a shout out here to That Buff Nerd. Late to stream. Did everyone see this from Meathead? Starkiller, Afra, and Grand Inquisitor Lightspeed bundles will be going live sometime tomorrow. So, apparently not the data mine. I didn't see them anywhere, but those Lightspeed bundles are going to be active tomorrow. So if you're looking for those, there you go. But yeah, I don't think that that Lightspeed bundles will go away because of these things, because of these tokens. But I do think there is a very big potential that we could see a shift maybe in how Lightspeed bundles are approached. That maybe they won't go with as many overlaps, and instead they'll just kind of release tokens along with it. So there is something there to be said. All right. Next, we've got updating unit progression. To make Lightspeed tokens work more effectively, we tore down some old walls in the unit upgrade system. Here's a list of restrictions we removed. And again, we'll kind of read through these. So, unit level is no longer gated by your player level. That is awesome. That is awesome. Units now have all their abilities unlocked right from the start. Also awesome. Unit ability tiers are no longer gated by a unit's gear tier. Awesome. Unit level no longer gates ability upgrades. The only exceptions are Zeta and Omicron abilities, which keep their original requirements. That's fine. Ship reinforcement abilities are no longer gated by star level. Ship ability upgrades are no longer gated by crew gear tier. That is also awesome. Not changing. Capital ship ability upgrades are still gated by the ship's star level. So capital ships are still there. A few exceptions remain. There are 3 specific characters whose abilities do not unlock immediately. General Skywalker's leader ability needs gear 7. Marin's special 1 ability needs gear 10. Zombie's unique needs gear 10. In addition to that, for Lightspeed tokens to work well with our current and future systems, many units have had their star unlock requirements reduced to 2 stars. The changes are in the table below. And there are a lot of characters in here. right? There's a lot of characters in here that they have reduced to unlock at 2-star now, right? Two of the big ones being Hermit Yoda and Wampa. So when you read through some of these characters, there are a few that we do need to mention, and there is one part of this upgrade that does that. Again, we don't know for certain. We're speculating on how this will work, but there are some characters that are getting there, like Admiral Akbar, for example. If you go into the game and you look at a character like Admiral Akbar, he, I believe, is... he's not in here? No, but I saw Barris's name. So let me go to Barris's name, right? Barris was on here. Yeah, Barris Offee, Boba Fett. Both of these characters are... Let me hide the fat face here. There are characters inside of these Bronzium data packs that you can get 80 shards for. With them getting reduced now to 25 shards, Bronzium data packs... some of the time, because you don't get 80 pulls often, but this will change the Bronzium data pack drops that you won't get as many of. You're not going to get the 80s, you're not going to get the 50s, because they're going to reduce all those characters down to a 25 shard unlock. So the speculation here is that Bronzium data cards won't be worth as much, but that's a small price to pay, in my opinion. And if I'm being honest, if you're spending your ally points on anything other than the droid brains that are in weekly shipments now, we need to have a conversation, because the droid brains are that is literally the smartest purchase you can make with your ally points. That is more important than Datacrons, that is more important than anything else. Buy the damn droid brains. So, I want to at least mention that there, so we can, not as big of a deal. But there are some big characters here that, like, getting to 2 stars. And the big ones I'm looking at is Hermit Yoda and Wampa. Particularly Wampa. Wampa at 2 stars with the Omicron. That's going to be crazy. That's going to be really, really valuable to a lot of players in the early GAC, levels. And again, that full list, you guys can look at this on your own time. The big thing I would say in this, when you're looking in this list, is you're going to say, man, Phil, but some of these characters, like, they're really, really old. That is because very quickly and early on, they changed the way that character unlocks worked, that they stopped with the whole 80, 50, and they kind of kept everything at like a 2-star unlock. That was a big change that came out. And if you notice with all the new marquees, they all unlock at 2-star, and then they give you the ability to get to 3-star there, but they all unlock at 2 stars. So if you're wondering why there's not more characters here, it's because these are all primarily characters that came out at launch or shortly after it. I say shortly after it in the grand scheme of how long this game has been going on. Obviously, Baze Malbus was not here like day one. It is something that I did want to at least mention, because that is important. So, but wait, there's more quality of life upgrades. Here are a few more updates to make your lives easier. Leveling up your units just got cheaper. The credit and ship material cost has been slashed by 50% across the board. That is... The credit one is really nice. The ship one is even crazier. Cutting the ship credit crunch in half is unreal. Like, character credits, okay, it's going to be awesome, but the ship one is unreal. That is, yeah, I cannot stress how big that is. The only question I have is, does this mean that there's a level cap increase coming? Are they finally going to put out a level cap because they're going to reduce the cost that it takes to go from, level 1 to 85, and then they can justify the increase to level 90 or something else? Again, speculation, but it is something to consider. Like, why are we having it? Are we just finally recognizing that it's too much? Is this just for early game, and we're all going to have billions and billions of credits? Or is there some ulterior motive here? So yeah, that's a big change there. If you've earned all possible rewards from a recurring event, that event will no longer appear on the events table. This includes all rerun marquee events, fleet mastery events, and proving grounds. Yes, you can finally say goodbye to the finalizer and Radis events hanging out at the end of your events list. Man, this is awesome. This is so nice. You don't know how frustrating it is to have to stare at these, or even like the Drogon event every single day and like having to scroll through these things. Like the fact that they're no longer going to be there, just, oh, it's so nice. I am beyond excited that is a thing. That is a really, really good QOL change. Because that was just one of the most annoying parts. You can now sim up to 100 battles at once on campaign nodes as long as you have the energy. This doesn't change the daily attempt limits on hard nodes. So that's great if you've ever hoarded enough energy that you need to do 100 battles. I very rarely ever have to do more than 20, but that is a nice change for people who do hoard their energy to be able to do a lot more of those. So I'm okay with that. You know, I think that's good. A new icon next to the unit's name on every unit details screen displays the icon for the era in which that unit was released. Tapping/clicking this icon will create a pop-up with the name of that era as well. So everybody else will just basically be like Legacy era. You can now sort your character inventory by relic amplifier level. Oh, that's so nice. That's so nice. Even just to be like, because there's certain characters where you're like, all right, how many relic 9s does somebody have? And you'd have to like sort by power, and then you'd have to go through and like go figure out where like the weak relic 9s are that they have like cup or something. To be able to sort by relic amplifier, it's just a nice way to be able to sort a roster, to be able to look at things. I do like that. I appreciate that. We've added new filters to see which character have upgrades available for. Lightspeed token application, relic amplifier, Omicron, Zeta, gear upgrade. Again, that's nice. Excuse me. The only thing I'll say is, like, for a lot of us, you're going to have so many characters there that it won't matter. But I do like this Lightspeed token application filter. I gotta say, I'm a big fan of that. Just to be able to, like, hey, let me run this. Let me see what characters I have a token for that I can use. Because what my assumption is, if we go back up to those Lightspeed tokens, the way that they seem to talk about them is that they said it's going to be around for, what, 6 months? Right? Where did they say that? Yes, they'll expire exactly 6 months. So what I'm wondering is, are we going to have these Lightspeed tokens around for like 2 eras and they disappear? So if you have a couple of them that you've gotten and you're like, hey, do I need to equip these before they, they disappear? So I do like that. I think that's awesome. Any ability upgrade and any unit level upgrade filters are also available for both characters and ships. A number of changes have been made to streamline tutorials for new players that let them get into the holotables faster. This includes the creation of 2 new quests granted to all players under level 40. We are excited to deliver this to you. Cannot wait to hear your feedback for this, as this is the foundation for our next large update coming later this year. See you on the holotable. That last sentence is almost crushing. The next large update coming later this year. So there's something big coming. What that is, I don't know. But we're going to take a few things here in this. So think that they're making it easier to get. They're reducing the cost of credits. That could be a level cap increase. You go back to these Lightspeed tokens where they seem to be making it easier to get to Relic 5. Now, again, I don't know how many of these they will give out, right? I don't know how many of those, Kyber Lightspeed tokens they will give out. A safe bet, in my personal opinion, a safe bet would be that the Kyber, Lightspeed tokens will probably be locked by the episode pass. So if you're on the free track, I don't know that I would expect any of those. If you're on the premium track, I would probably expect that you're going to see a Kyber Lightspeed token somewhere. I'm not expecting a lot, to be honest, but you figure an extra Relic 5 character a month for the episode pass would be freaking insane. Hell, even a Relic 3 character would be crazy. I don't know how much they will or won't want to, give out. I'm sure what will happen is it'll kind of be like Lightspeed bundles were at first. They'll kind of put them out into the game, and they'll figure out whether they need to put more or whether they went too crazy and need to back off a little bit. But as I read this, and I am Italian, I'm speaking with my hands, it makes me wonder if we're getting some higher relic tiers in this game. Now, I've always said for a long time, there's still a lot of extra work they'll have to do before I feel we're ready for higher relic tiers. But they've really made it easier to interact with relics. They've made it easier to obtain them. So, the great one. When is this update live? My man, Wampa tier for 1 month. I would assume this is coming out tomorrow. My friend. I think tomorrow is that answer. But I don't think it's been officially announced anywhere other than on the forums. But I feel like they normally give us this information and then it goes live the next day. But I just have this sinking feeling that we could be seeing Relic 10. At least Relic 10, if not more. But I don't know what they'll want to do with that. I don't know how they'll want to make that happen. But I think this is a big start to at least getting players into that. All right, let's give people some relic levels. Because if we're being very honest, I said this even, that there's a lot of, staleness in the game. And what these Lightspeed tokens could be really nice for is those teams, those characters, those teams that I mentioned, hey, it's stale. Imagine now that they're like, hey, you have Lightspeed tokens for Gungans. Now you're going to be able to get Jar Jar Binks almost free. So I definitely can see that being something that's, coming. But again, that is all speculation based off of, again, this update just seeing very player friendly, very much changing a lot of the stuff. But the next large update coming later this year, that this is laying the foundation. Now, that laying the foundation could also just mean that they're going to be changing up some of the dynamics in the game, that they're going to be requiring more relics to do different things, whether it's changes to GAC and Territory War. Maybe they're getting us ready for that. I don't know, but I am super excited to see what this is. The Buff Nord Scorch should come out tomorrow. Shield Flyer, what do you think this will do for the Zeta and Omicron crunch many people are in? Yeah, it's not going to make it any easier. Your Zeta crunch, your Omicron crunch will not get any easier with this change. I have to say, I think that's pretty intentional. I have a feeling the Zeta economy is not the Zeta economy, in my opinion, is not an easy thing to shift, right? Again, I could be off the mark here, but in my opinion, I think the problem with updating the Zeta economy is there's all the other resources behind it. Omegas, the purple materials, the green materials, the white materials, all those things. And I will say eventually Zetas kind of don't become as big of a problem. But I think where they'd have to be more careful is that I think Zetas are kind of their... I feel like they are a bottleneck that they want to stand by. Kind of like Kyrotech, kind of like Signal Data and Relic Materials. They've been pretty staunch on Zetas. So, it just is... I don't know if they're ready to alleviate that yet. And I say yet. Yeah, I think this will continue to cause problems for the Zeta economy. I don't know what the easy solution is. Because even if they were just like, oh, we're going to, have the amount of Zetas, we're going to double the Zetas. I mean, even for a Zeta, you still need how many, Omicron, or, how many Omegas, right? So you'd also have to increase that economy. So there's stuff like that. So, I think that's an aspect of that, that we have to, that definitely is a real thing, Shield Flyer. The great one, oh man, you must have missed it earlier. I covered that. Let me go back up. Are they for specific characters or can you use them wherever? So the way that they said they're going to work, these Lightspeed tokens. So Lightspeed tokens are tied to a specific list of characters and that will never be updated to include units released later. So there's no reason to save them for a future character drop. They will expire exactly 6 months after the date and time you acquired them. Use them when you get them. Initially, Lightspeed tokens can only be used for characters from the Legacy era. Everything before the era of Apprentices. So basically, everything before Hu Yang is considered a Legacy era character, which is really funny to me. I'm going to be using that way too much. But the launch factions, the first Lightspeed tokens available at launch will be Smugglers and Separatists. So if you get one of these tiers and you have a Smuggler or a Separatist that would benefit, you can equip this. Otherwise, you'll be able to trade them in for any one of these things. Any kind of Kyrotech, Carbonite circuit boards, a little bit of Signal Data, or all the way up to including some Erodium heat sinks. Definitely not the greatest of trade-in values, but if I'm being honest, I feel like it's good enough. It's extra rewards that otherwise I wouldn't, if you're a endgame player, it's stuff you wouldn't have access to. So yeah, I think this is a very solid addition to the game. But yes, going back to the whole, I don't think it's going to help people with the Zeta and Omicron crunch unless they do something with those economies. Which, the other one everybody talks about Zetas and Omicrons, but I think the bigger problem y'all are going to run into is mods. The mod situation in this game is dire, right? Even myself, my mod situation is dire, and I'm, here, and I still am like, okay, I don't have enough mods for Wrecker and, Omega. So I think mods are going to become an even bigger issue than they are now, because you guys are all going to need, mods to keep working through stuff. So, I get it. I just don't know, what that answer is or isn't, right? Let me change my chat box back to, let me change this color again. Oops. Yeah, Aqua, you think the tier 3 exchange rate is laughable? I honestly have to say, I don't think the exchange rates are that bad. I think they could have made them significantly worse. You got to recognize that these tokens, if you already have this stuff, you have such an advantage over everybody else. So, like, I'm perfectly okay with where those exchange rates are. Now, Con Warlock is preaching the choir here. Like, we need a new mod cap. Like, it is 500 mods and only 300 characters. I said the same thing even about mod loadouts. There's only a certain number of mod loadouts that you can have before, like, you can't create any more. And with the number of characters, like, that's the next QOL change that they really need to do, is just, like, allow me to save my mods that are on here. Oh, the great one. You already have those factions at Relics. I mean, you'll get some extra signal data, though, man. Like, you're going to get extra signal data. So, like, the players like you and myself, where we have most of those factions, the difference will be, we've invested that resource. We've gotten advantage from those characters already. We're going to get extra signal data that's going to go offset Jedi Master Mace Windu, whatever other characters. And that kind of stuff could add up depending on how many of these they give out. Maybe they're not something that's that common, so it's not that big of a deal. If there's something that's pretty common, you know, you're going to be happier than a pig in shit. You know what I mean? Tier 2 and Tier 1 give more than Tier 3. It's got to be a typo. Now, see, here's where I'd argue that. Carbonite circuit boards are more valuable than Kyrotech. Because Kyrotechs you can get from, like, if you go into your, you can get Kyrotech from Zepho. You can get Kyrotech from Mandalore. You can't get any Carbonite circuit boards there. So Carbonite circuit boards sort of become a big deal when you really break it down of what that really is. It'd be funny if CG partnered with Hot Utils and promoted them in-game and lowered the mod cap. That would not be funny. I'd hate my life. Nugget, it feels like this changes CG trying to push more players to the late game to encourage investment and engagement with new stuff. I mean, here's something I would say to that, Nugget. Like, if you haven't noticed that change, that they're trying to get us to focus on new content, like, then I think you've been living under a rock. Like, they've been pushing new content for a long time. So, like, I feel like that's kind of noted. But I have Admiral Thrawn, who's one of my guildmates, saying he thinks the rewards stack from tier to tier. Don't know why Meathead didn't mention it. Maybe they do stack from tier to tier, where I think what he's saying is, and again, this is all speculation, we don't know, is does tier 1 give you this, tier 2 give you this and this, that you would get all of these things? I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't know if it's stacking or not. It would feel a lot better if I would say this. I'm already okay with where they're at. If they stack, I'll be even happier. That you're going to get way more resources from that. Yeah, if they stack, I'll be even happier, man. That'd be legit if they stack. But even if they don't stack, it's still a decent bit of rewards for something that I've already invested in, right? It's the thing you guys got to think about here. It's very similar to the shard shop. Like, when you do the shard shop currency and you realize, like, back in the day of, like, how much it cost to get General Grievous through the shard shop, you realize really quickly, like, you were trading in hundreds of shards to get, like, 10 of General Grievous. So, like, this doesn't feel any different, except that, again, they're giving you a way to use a resource that otherwise would just expire in your account. So, like, I'll take whatever I can get. Like, I don't want to complain about this because I really, really like that change. I think that's awesome. Yeah, I think that's a very good point, Kaya, that I definitely think it's going to make the episode pass even more lucrative if they're putting it up here. I mean, this is already like one of those. I tell Agnards like this is my guilty purchase every single month. My episode pass is my guilty purchase every month. And if they're putting Lightspeed tokens up here, oh my gosh, cash me outside. How about that? I mean, yeah, I think they absolutely want to push the episode pass. I mean, the episode pass is probably some of the best value they've put into the game. But they just want you to spend money, period. I don't think they care where it is. The great one, you wanted just to relic some random characters like Jedi Knight Guardian. Yeah, see, I hear ya, but I think they're going to make their way around to those. But like Smugglers and Separatists, I mean, Separatists, if you think about like the total game in and of itself, you've got like the Geos, right? I've got some like the Snap. I've got some that I'd really love to get there. But Smugglers, I mean, that's a great faction to get some relics on. Between Hondo, Dash, Enfys Nest, L3, Kira, Young Han. I can't say enough how much I'm glad that they chose like those two factions where they're not. It's not like all of a sudden people are gonna you're gonna be able to use this for Imperial remnants and unaligned force users. Like you're getting to use it for some factions that kind of are important in some aspects of the game. Obviously, I'm getting a lot of benefits, so I'm gonna be very friggin' happy. But yeah, I think choosing those two factions is really good, and maybe there's something coming down the pipeline. Maybe we're going to get a smuggler fleet. Maybe we're going to get a separatist fleet finally, and this is their way to ensure that you have, some leg up to get there. Unless they put the LSTs in the premium episode pass, because no one is buying that one. Yeah, that is something simplistic, senility. Would they just put it in the like $20 pass? I mean, the problem with this $20 pass is that it really is lacking. I would 100% agree. It really is just not like I'm just for perspective, right? I've been at this for like a week and a half. I've been at this whole thing for like a week and a half. So, I've never seen the value in going up to getting 50,000 extra episode points when it just means like I get 10 more of these bonus boxes. Like that's just. Now I think the purpose of it, and I know Agnards has kind of said this as well, that like I think the purpose of this is that you won't have to play as much. But, like, if you're just a living, breathing person playing this game, it's pretty easy to complete this without too many problems. Yeah, it feels like they wanted to do something, and maybe they're going to add more to it. And Lightspeed tokens are kind of that thing to add to give it that extra value. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just reading chat right here. Yeah, no, the great one. I mean, I absolutely think you're not getting those on top of the basic pass. I mean, the basic pass is good enough. Like when you say the basic pass, you talk about the one the episode pass or the free track. Because like if I go and buy this right now, I get 50,000 episode points, so I'm just going to get 10 extra bonus rewards. I mean, like, it's not worth it. Yeah, and I think I will say some of these events, like your journey guides, you're not going to be able to go through, yeah, Aqua, we did talk about that earlier. I did mention that does hurt the shard shop currency situation. But like journey guide events, you've got to think for some of these, it tells you they need to be 7-star. So if they go in and change that, maybe that's the case. But the journey guide, I'd never thought that this would help you in regards to the journey guide, because the journey guide has always been star blocked, meaning go to Galactic Legend and like it just says, you know, now the GL stuff, that could be a different story. I will say GL stuff could be a different story, because the GLs just say you need to have them at a certain relic level. Like, for example, Biggs Dark Lighter, Wedge Antilles only need to be Relic 3. What I'm not sure is if those characters, getting them to Relic 3 is good enough. On the flip side, for the Journey Guide, it'll tell you, hey, 7 stars, Relic 5. So they kind of have a 2-level situation there, where for Galactic Legends, I don't think it specifically says that they have to be 7-star anywhere. Now, maybe that's implied, but that is something to keep an eye out for, is, you know, that is something to keep an eye out for, that there's potential that maybe for some of these GLs with Relic 3, Relic 4 stuff, you might not have to take them to 7-star. But I'm not banking on it. I'm just not banking on it. So Justin asked a really good question. How do you think this helps out those who understand the game and make their accounts better? Is this beneficial for all, or those who know how to work the system? Here's maybe a good way to say this, because that's a good question, Justin. Like, who does this really benefit the most? So the biggest benefit that I think is to people who understand the game and know how to play, know the system. So that's always is who's going to benefit, are the people who understand it. You know, think about these Lightspeed tokens. The smart people will spend them on the smugglers like Zori and Hondo, where, you know, Sana, Skiffguard Lando, Dash Rendar, your high Kyra Tech ones, right? That you'll spend them on those characters. You'll spend your gear on those characters and save the Kyra Tech. You know, it will be the people who would recognize that, all right, in the Separatists, I'm going to want X, you know, your Geonosians, your first 2 that you really want are, you know, Sunfok and Spy, because they're your first 2 that you bring out for reinforcements. Like, there's going to be hey, the biggest benefit goes to those who know how to play the system. But I also think it still is beneficial to everybody, because it's giving out more free stuff, and more free stuff is always welcome in this game of, you know, forever bottlenecks. This change will definitely add confusion for players who are already lost. I think it's just going to give people an opportunity to maybe make their account a little bit different. You know, yeah, and I think Simplistic, you know, Sonilla just said it really well. This is a resource management game. The advantage will always lean towards people that are good at being efficient with their resources. I love it. I think that's a great way to put it. You know, when you're lost in this game, oftentimes help is just right around the corner, or help is a Discord message away from somebody or a couple of people, and they will tell you. Yeah, I mean, I put free in quotes. Someone's paying for it. Their name is Arnold or Old Man Logan. They're the ones that pay for all this. We just get to benefit from it. Are they adding star levels? Great one. That's a great question. Are they adding star levels? Man, that's actually interesting. Adding star levels would be mad. Adding star levels would be mad. I'm gonna say no. And I'm gonna say no for the very reason that I think they haven't gone back and added things to certain stores, or why they've never put characters into certain locations. It's for the benefit of people, for example, and I mean, and I'm not a great example. I've only got like 21,000 squad arena currency. But imagine that they go in and, hey, now you can take characters to 9-star. So, or, 10-star or whatever else, right? Well, everyone's going to rush to go get their get their Sith Empire characters for Darth Revan and, get him. Like, I think the advantage that would give to the players who have currency hoarded for various things, people who have everything done, that's a far, far stretch that I don't think they've been willing to cross, in my personal opinion. So I don't think we would get star count. Yeah, I don't see a lot of negatives here. Even the whole bronziums kind of getting nerfed, I don't hate if they're going to keep putting the droid brains inside of, I mean, I'm not going to be able to buy this next patch, but if they keep putting droid brains in there, man, I'm all for it. Do you think they'll be able to do that? Yeah, Madoff Fett, we were talking about that a bit. I'm 50-50 on the GL side of it because the original Journey Guide things, I think the original Journey Guide stuff, you're still going to need 7 stars because that's required, but I think for GLs, I'm wondering if the 7-star was implied, but, there's always a chance. Daniela, yeah, Nest and Hondo are old smugglers. If a whole guild uses their lightspeed tokens on them, they could quickly get solos ready. Yes. Yeah, that's a very good point. They are both older smuggler units that you could quickly increase. But I would say with Nest doesn't take Kyrotech, so Nest is really easy to level up. Hondo, being a Cantina farm, oh my gosh, if they release a I'll tell you guys what, if they release a Tusken one, we're going to have a party because Tusken Warrior going to 7-star immediately. Yeah, so I'm all for that. They could do I see LJR Vic, they could do like Marvel Strike Force and add red stars. Yeah, I've honestly thought about that of would they add red stars? But again, I think the difference... Now, again, it's been a while since I've played Marvel Strike Force. I thought the red stars were a really cool idea. The one problem I would have with red stars is how does it impact ships? Because ships exist in this game, red stars would pose some sort of a problem, right? That imagine... in my fleet arena, just for the sake of argument, I get a 7 red star Darth Revan out of something, and someone else gets a, Cup 7 red star. Well, my Darth Revan, my Leviathan's always going first. I mean, what are we, I think if they added something like red stars, it would probably have to be similar to mods, where your mods increase your ship, to a degree, but like the actual stats don't. I think with red stars, you'd have to do the same thing where like it doesn't actually make your ship better, but it just makes the character better. My 3-star Hondo and Sana laughing at this lightspeed bundle or lightspeed token system. Yeah, tainted. I gotta tell you guys, I love that lightspeed token. That's gonna be some cool stuff going on there. You only need 4-star for 6-stop mods with this change. Oh yeah. That's a big... Is that right? You only need 4-star for 6-stop mods? Maybe that is something, Narsil. I didn't think about that. How does that impact the that is an interesting argument. Yeah, I think the update goes live tomorrow, guys. But that is, man, Narciel, that is a really good point. Is mods? Did they say that? Did they say that about mods somewhere? Did I miss that? But because that is an interest. If they that would be one negative out of this is yeah, like that's a big. That is a man. Now I didn't even think about that. The light speed tokens. So you think if you can like relic a character at 4 stars or whatever, but with like the mod 6 dot just needs gear 12. That's right. Holy crap! Yeah, I wasn't even thinking about it. 6 dot just needs gear 12. You just need to be gear 12. So now you're gonna be able to put those 6 dot mods on characters a lot. Wow, yeah, that is really good. Hollette. Oh, that's awesome. No, Satcha. What it says there, this update, Satcha, yeah, it's paving the way for the next update. So this, we're excited to hear you and cannot wait to hear your feedback on this, as this is the foundation for our next large update coming later this year. So this stuff is coming out now to help release something coming later. So this is all leading to one big thing that we're going to hear about later in, 2025. Yeah, it's all referring to another update. Yeah, again, so if that does, again, it just continues to bring up this point about mods. Like, the mod crunch is going to get out of control fast. Same, and I think with Zetas too. So it's going to be something. I think that's going to be something I'm looking at. What do I think, White Tiger? What do I think is the next big thing? I mean, I could see a couple things. I could see a bunch of relic levels. I could see level cap. One thing I have said for a while. I've been on this train for a little bit. I've argued for a while that the smarter thing to do instead of release Relic 10 is release Gear 14. I've thought adding Gear 14 would be far more beneficial than adding in an extra relic level. Because I think gear, the one thing with relics that I don't want to say is necessarily, it's a little bit, it is a little bit short-sighted. I shouldn't say short-sighted, but their one issue with relics is they're universal. Every relic 9 needs the exact same relics no matter what. So if I was planning to relic 9 my Jocasta Nu, and then all of a sudden I want to relic 9 my Scorch, guess what? It's the exact same stuff. I don't need to go farm anything else. I don't need to panic and completely pivot. I'm just going to take materials that I was intending for person A and give them to person B. With gear, it's never been like that. With gear, there's some stuff that overlaps, but there's some stuff that from character to character is unique, right? That doesn't overlap. And so I think Gear 14 could be a really good answer for them. So I'm curious if that could be a thing. I think that would open up more possibilities. I think that would delay the whales a bit. Just depends on how they release it. But yeah, I could potentially see a Gear 14 coming. Dang, yeah, the Carbonite and Bronzium GACs are going to go crazy with low stars and relics. Wild, Wild West. Yeah, it's going to be some wild times down there in the lower levels of Grand Arena. Add Gear 13, but we have Gear 13 already. We have gear, like, that's what we have, Gear 13. We don't have Gear 14. And I consider, when I say like Gear 13 or whatever, like, I call the gear that you equip, like, that's at Gear 12. When you're Gear 12, like my Like, this to me is Gear 13 gear. I consider this Gear 13 gear. It's just the way that, again, I don't know if that's the right way to think about it, but that's the way I've always thought about it. Like, the gear I use to go from 12 to 13 is Gear 13 gear. Yeah, I'm reading through the rest of this. People talking about people modding horribly. Yeah, that's just kind of a, I really don't know what else they could do other than completely revamping like TW or GAC to where you need a larger account. I mean, maybe they're just recognizing that your average player doesn't have time to level up all these things for Galactic Legends and work on the raid and conquest and everything else that they want you to participate with. What else you guys got? What other things should we be talking about right now? What other questions do we have? Vehicles? I mean, we kind of have ships already. I don't think I've known people have said vehicles for a while. We have ships already. I don't know why we feel the need for vehicles. And yeah, I think vehicles would just feel like a cop out to me. Vehicles feels like a cop out. Ships might be affected more. Common Pants can use its reinforcement ability upon unlock. Yeah, the Common Pants got really good. They need to update to make the auto-assign mods button assign better mods sets. Some are fine, but many are crazy. I don't know that I've ever auto-assigned mods on a character. Yeah. Would rather they add more ships than add a whole new game mode they will neglect. Yeah, yeah. Why do I pronounce Common Pants that way? So when I was first on Three Scoundrels, it was right around when the Common Pants had its like marquee or the chase, whatever it was, the Galactic Chase. So I think it's going to be really, really nice. Sorry, I was reading a comment and trying to respond to the other one. So anyway, it was Bones and Avant and Old Man Logan that kept calling it the Common Pants, and I just thought it was the funniest thing. And so I've always just said it that way since. Yeah, it's all Bones. I'd say it's all Bones' fault, but like, come on, like, fuck you, Bones, but we love you. Kansas City sucks. So I saw somebody, Salva Skywalker. Personally, I don't think it will affect too much low ranks. I think this will mostly affect Kyber, where whales cannot buy or speedrun clones, for example, but they do have all the gear for G1 and relics. I don't know. I don't know. I think the Lightspeed tokens, I think you're right, where it's going to help. So like someone like Arnold, he can bypass a lot of stuff, buy this, get to Relic 5. That's great. But it's not going to change what they do now, right? So like that doesn't change what they do now. They're going to get there anyway. I think where these Lightspeed tokens and where these other things are really going to help are the players who are trying to do a lot of stuff at once. When you're, like for me, as soon as I get Scorch, he's going to Relic 9. As soon as I get my Temple Guard and Depa Balaba, like they're going to Relic 7. And I'm not going to feel like I'm in need of, like I'm running out of any kind of signal data or something, because I'm moving at a pace that's what I can do. But you give me some Lightspeed tokens for Han and Kira, and all of a sudden we're moving up in the world, right? So like I think when I look at this, I'm like, you know what? I like it. And they even said the Lightspeed tokens as of now are only for older characters anyway. So I don't think they're impacting whales in any way other than giving them some extra signal data. Thomas Wake says, I've seen a few people saying they think one of the changes upcoming will be add mods and equipment to ships. Ugh, yeah. I mean, mods on ships would be... This is my problem with that, right? I've thought this a lot. The problem with ships has always been it's so much more of a who goes first. And that's just such an issue for me. I've never liked that. And they've got to think of, like, you've got to think of the implications to Fleet Arena. That's where my mind goes. That if you're going to change the way that you can speed up a ship or whatever else, ugh. Oh, excuse me. Wyatt Tincher, what are Lightspeed tokens? Man, yeah, you've got a lot to catch up on. They're basically, depending on the level, they'll take a character to like 3 stars gear 10, 4 stars gear 11, so on and so forth. Ooh, yeah, crew slots instead of locked characters. Yeah, ships is kind of miserable right now. There's no variation. Think of swapping Chewie for Farm Boy Luke on the Falcon. Different skill for the slot. Yeah, I've thought about that before too. I think that would cause too many problems for them on the cause too many problems on probably the back end with the code. Yeah, time to push. Yeah, Shield Flyer's down. Yeah, damn right. Time to push Jabba and get better mods. I mean, that's the truth right there. Get Jabba as fast as you can. That will be crucial to maintaining your getting more mods. Same with that like Separatist Assault battle. It's gonna be a big one, but I think a lot of people are gonna be switching to doing 3 refreshes on mod energy, making sure they're getting everything they can. All of a sudden, Fat Phil, and this maybe goes to. You think the weekly change, or the weekly shipments here, where I said that Omegas and the the micro attenuators for credits, and some people kind of gave me some hate on that, and they were like, "That's not really player friendly. I need those." Maybe putting them here for credits is Capital Games' way of saying, "Hey, we're transitioning to this. We are we're going to be giving you another alternative to use your credits because." You're going to have so many because we're going to reduce the cost by 50% for a character. Ezra the Hutt. Yeah, I like that. Hold on, give me a sec, guys. I just got to adjust my hat. All right, what other questions we got going on? What else we thinking about this? What other thoughts do we have? I mean, I'm so far, I mean, like I said, I'm pretty positive about this. I think there's some stuff, but, overall, this is a good update. Anybody else have thoughts, questions, comments, concerns? Fat Phil fix this. I hope Hondo is free to play friendly. Yeah. I think everybody does. Smuggler's Run 3 is going to be a movie. I'll have to stream my first Smuggler's Run 3. Make sure I get that. Yeah, I don't know if their plan is for weekly shipments to kind of rotate between various things they feel they want to give into the community. Now, Justin, I disagree with that. I think Hondo is going to be more player friendly than Ahsoka. I don't think Ahsoka was well received at all by the community, And I think if they want to have a better reception, they've got to reduce the costs on Hondo. I just don't know what other Relic 9s they could realistically acquire, require here. Proof in the pudding. Will I take Quiggold and Atano 4-star Relic 3 tomorrow? No. Because I have a limited number of signal data right now. And that's saved for Scorch, Depa, and Temple Guard. See, I actually think this change does help us big game accounts because it's going to give us access to resources that otherwise we wouldn't have. It's going to give us access to extra signal data. R9GK, R9... Just pay to win and get a ton of... But, like, this is the thing. Those Lightspeed tokens, guys, they said right now they're only for the smugglers and they're for separatists. And they specifically said that they're only intended for characters that have been out for a year. So Lightspeed tokens really aren't going to help whales. So I don't think that... Like, these Lightspeed tokens are not meant to help the Arnolds of the world. They're meant to help the average player. Yeah, Scorch is going to go to... I have him at Relic 6, so he'll go to Relic 5. Or I have him at 6 stars, so Scorch is going to Relic 6 day 1. Or Relic 5, or whatever Relic I can take him to, Relic 4. So if things are going to cost half the price to up characters, how will that work for people that just did one? I just unlocked Slicker R7. That was costly. Do I get reimbursed? No. They're not going to go back in time and reimburse us for what you spent. The best thing to do until this update goes live is just wait to do all your stuff. No, Aqua, I do think the raid does have a 5-star requirement. At least as of now, the raid has a 5-star requirement. So you at least have to be 5 stars to enter the raid. But you'll at least be able to do... Oh, excuse me, folks. The Relic 3 tier. You'll be at least able to get to Relic 3. Farm Star. As a whale, I'm happy to see these tokens get added. At the rate they add tunes, there's no way a free-to-play can keep up. This is a great way for players to enjoy more of the game. Yeah, I agree. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Phil should make a new account with this. I do not have time to run more than one account. I do not have time to run more than one account. You guys know that. I do not have that much time. I don't think you guys realize how little time I have on my hands to run one account. I will say this. To keep this account where it is in Kyber, to keep up with the guild, to keep up with creation of content, I don't have time to start a new account. I just don't. It's too much work. It's too much work. I've never had that time. Yeah, like, I don't know. I know Justin has like 4 accounts, and I don't know how he does it. I've never been able to handle more than one account at once. It's just not in my DNA. How possible would it be for Relic 7 Tarkin and a full team of 5-star Relic 3 clones be for Tier 3? Probably, Buff Nerd, probably pretty easy. I feel like Tarkin with the full set of clones is not going to struggle on any of these tiers. I could be wrong on that, but I think it's going to be nice. I also think the added stuff is going to be a big change for guilds. I've seen a couple people asking guilds. And, what I would argue is I think that, I think for guilds this is huge because you're going to get a lot more galactic power from your, you're going to get more GP from your players. I saw somebody say I should be doing my TB right now. I did all my ground missions. I did all the grounds that I can. So I just have to do my fleets in the special mission. We can do the Geo Fleet mission. We'll run this. We can all lose this right away. Do. If you're skilled at the game, it's easy to run an account. Hey, I am an officer. Okay, we did get a thermal debt. That's good. All right, come on. Now, I will say I don't know this strategy well enough to be like, oh yeah, I know how this works. Okay. Oof. Alright, I think I do have to call this out. And then I think I'm supposed to do this. Okay. Okay, that's fine. That's not good. Okay, all right. Give me turn meter. Oof. That's just bad news bears. All right. Let's go here. Let's see if I can get some dodges going. If I get some dodges that can, like, yeah, that's not going to help. Not going to help me. Yeah, just not going to matter. Got too many. I just couldn't get my, what's it called, to, I needed, like, one less damage on it, on this stupid Mark 6. Oh, well. That mission's so stupid. I don't know that it matters. That mission doesn't matter for me. Now, this one, actually, I don't have my Razor Crest, but I don't think it matters. Let's just go in with this. I don't care. Yeah, I've beat it maybe once or twice. It's not very... I don't think I've beat it very much at all. Of course we don't get... Why would I get Breach? I mean, why should I ever expect to get Breach? Okay... All right, bring you out. Why would I ever get Breach? Ooh, nice timing. Come on, get the kill. Thank you. Ugh. Offense down. Okay, go here. What else do you guys think about this update? Anything else? I feel like we've talked a lot about it. I don't want to, you know, just keep beating a dead horse, but there is a lot to kind of, like, I didn't talk about the, even talk about the kits yet. What other characters are you expecting for Hondo Rex? Ooh, other characters for Hondo Rex, General Kenobi. I mean, I don't know, General Kenobi, Anakin, Dooku. Those would all be like crazy Relic 9 options. Shield Flyer, Nightman, White Tiger. What did CG mean by this will be retroactive? In my opinion, that just means that they're gonna, that it's not just new characters, that they're gonna go back and make sure that this is active for all characters. I don't think that's really worded the right way. I felt like that was kind of worded weirdly. Other characters for Hondo, maybe, I'm trying to think who else would even be in the game that we really get. Maybe like Ugnaught. You know, like Ugnaught, you know, for Mulch. That could be funny. I'm trying to think. There's not, I mean, there's not a lot of, I'm not going to say there's not a lot of great options. I feel like Maz should have come. I agree. I think this, again, I think they've kind of been in a tailspin a little bit. And I feel like you're right. We should have gotten, Maz before we got the rest of this stuff. Itano is a leader. Yeah. Itano's a terrible leader. Alright, die off thing. Alright. He'll lead you right to the grave, yeah. Itano is, Itano just, yeah. I think they did not know what order to release the characters in. That's kind of the feeling I got. I felt like they just did not know what order they did or didn't want to release characters in. No, just come in there. A non-leader would be interesting. Five-star. Yeah, Pope Phyllis said, I made a post on Reddit about the update and its raid implications. Five-star teams can get a maximum of 4.5 million points now. Yeah, listen, I like this update a lot. I think it's going to open up a lot of options for people. Yeah, they had some content that got scrapped. Yeah, there's a lot we just don't know, right? I think that's the big thing. There's just a lot we don't know. Right, so here comes the fun. Da 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 da. I wish they did a Revan Reborn neutral. Dude, I wish we had more Revan. I'd love more Revan. All right, go here. ROTE and chill. This is the last I need to do in my Rise of the Empire. I won't even deploy this phase. Just no need to. It's also because my guild actually cares about TB, so like we get people who actually want to, you know, do stuff. Yeah, I feel like with neutral characters, the problem I've always had with neutral characters is they don't get any help for datacrons. At this point, I just wish they'd retcon Hondo and make him a dark side character. That'd be so. They just need to retcon him, make him dark side, because the neutral thing is just, it's bad for datacrons. The datacrons are light side, dark side. Like Hondo never gets any love for him. Yeah, I think it would just be so much easier to get rid of the neutral faction and just pretend it never happened. Whoops. Didn't mean to click that. Okay. Boom. Wish we had more Old Republic and Legends in the game. Yeah, I'd love some Old Republic characters. Get me Satil Shen. I would be a happy man. Then I would die a happy man. All right. Oh, yeah, that's a... Yeah, Vandor doesn't revive Hondo. Yeah, like, Vandor, yeah, like, it really... The whole neutral thing, I feel, was just, like, we kind of messed up. I also was messing up and targeting the wrong character, but it doesn't matter. Alright, now I can just kind of delete this dude. Oops. Give me an armor shred. Give me defense down. Okay. KOTOR 2, yeah, or just, you know, anything would be nice. Take it, anything. Okay. Go here. See, can I get the kill with Cal? There we go. Beat Seer. I've been trying to do that more recently. I've been trying to just beat Seer to her saber throw on the second kill. That's a wrap for phase 2. Because screw Geonosians. Alright. Let's go here. Baraka. The two brothers, all the twins. The twins would be awesome. Man, the twins would be so cool. That'd be a great addition to this game. Yeah, I just think yeah. Yeah, maybe, like, I wonder if they had an idea for neutral and it's just never panned out, but, like, it's a problem with Datacrons, you know? And that's the big thing. Like, I think everything now just has to be like, how does it work with Datacrons? Alright, let's get that on Bosk. Oops. Which one is this? Is that his? Or is this is his? He's got the protection. Go there. Go there. Yeah, I'll be curious. I will be curious to see the relic data on some characters to see how much they increase now that you won't need them at 7-star. Watching me do this makes you happy that you spend money on hot utils. Yeah, it's not a... I don't have to swap mods a lot. But yeah, I mean, I would argue I have it down to a science. Like, I know I can look at some of my character's stats and know that that's not the right mod I put on them. But I have a whole tab of loadouts for, okay, here's my base set. So this is, every once in a while, I just have to recreate this of, I'm going to go switch mods around. I know these are the mods I use for XYZ character. It's a pain, but it saves me from having to pay for hot utils. Yeah, it's just I just don't feel I need to. I would argue I can work around with it that I don't need to do it. And then if I'm being brutally honest, like when I create some of my sets for a character, I'll just go in and be like, all right, I'm just going to take Supreme Leader Kylo Ren's mods and be done with it. Because like, they've got a stupid amount of health, a stupid amount of speed, a stupid amount of offense. Oh yeah, the Afra is BS. It's turned into beyond this, but like those are the mods I used on Hondo and Sana for her event, and then it's just turned into like my ridiculous sets. Worth it, but I don't, outside of, this is the thing, Farmstar, outside of the Baraka, I don't need to remod ever for TB. I might remod once in a while for a raid, but realistically, I don't have to remod. But I also would say I don't have, I'm not putting TB Omicrons on Cal either, so. Any other, this has been, we still got a lot of you guys on right now. What else you got? I definitely don't have that, I will fully admit I don't have that much longer in me. Do have to go into the work tomorrow. Vader comics. So Smooth Butter, see, this is the thing. I've said this before, and a few of us were talking about this. I think this came up on Three Scoundrels. Chazarus, take care, man. I said this on the Three Scoundrels podcast, that when they released Jedi Knight Cal, I was like, oh, cool. Cal Kestis is coming into the game or whatever. And I was fine with it. It's cool. But my Xbox is older than my car. I've had my Xbox since 2008. So I remember saying, like, I bet there's more people who play this game who recognize Maz Kanata than recognized Cal. Dr. Afra was as unknown to me as Quiggled and Etano was, because I don't read the comics. And I'm not saying that the comics are bad. I'm not trying to say that at all. But I think if we want to try to get people to invest in characters they want and invest in characters that they feel, it needs to be ones from Andor, other ones from Rebels, characters that we've seen in the larger media. I have not tried out Smee. Smee is still sitting at level 1, gear 1, or I moved him up a little bit. Now I'm all pissed off. I got him to level 85, and I could have saved myself 3 million credits. So, but yeah, I've not taken him up yet, just because, again, I'm trying to save my signal data for Scorch. Once I know where Scorch is going to go farmable, I'll probably take Smee. Like, if Scorch goes to Cantina, because, like, Master Qui-Gon, Padawan Obi-Wan both went to Cantina. If he goes to Cantina, I'll be a lot more tight with my signal data. But if he goes to, like, a hard node or something, I'll take Smee up now. What are the odds they send everyone a light speed token when it drops? I don't know. I'd say a pretty good chance. I feel like they're gonna want everybody to know what it does. So I could see that happening. I'd say about 100%. I would argue that they're gonna want people to know how good it is. Yeah, I think it's a pretty good chance. See, I disagree. I think it's a pretty good chance. I feel like they're going to want you to know what it's like to have them. Yes, Danielle's right. The first hit is free. I think they're going to want you to have, like, I feel like they're going to want you to know what it is like to have them. Because I think that's part of the issue with even a Lightspeed bundle or some of these other packs. You don't know what it's like to have it until you do. Right? There's no trial period. There's no free, here's what it's like. Can you imagine if the first time you went to purchase a pack, if it was free? And then you had the choice to, okay, I'm going to buy this again. Like, I'm sure there are people they would probably get to, again, I don't think that would actually help revenue, but you get what I mean. Like, if they gave you a single pack that you could buy for free, I'd be curious if it would up spending, because you could see where people would be like, all right, I'm going to buy this thing for free. And they would see the benefit it had on their account and then get them to spend more. So I think that's what they're going to want to do with these tokens. They're going to want you to see how good they are, and then they're going to keep going. That's what I think. Whew. All right. Any other burning questions, guys? I don't want to, keep just circling the drain here, but, you guys have had some pretty good questions tonight. Did you do the survey on the forums? I heard they will send you the stuff you pick out, but not sure if that's true. Yeah, they're not going to send you the stuff you picked out. I did do the survey. I picked fragmented signal data, which is the blue, or flawed signal data, which is blue signal data, droid brains, Gerda keypads, and Omicrons. Yeah, I don't think they give you what's there. I think they just, were curious. I think they have some, I'm sure it has to do something with I'm sure we'll see a slice of bundle or something that will have a mixture of those resources. That's what I feel like they do with those, is they try to, figure out what the next slice of bundle should be. Not saying that that's right, but, I think that's what happens. All right, folks. Well, I think as much as I still have, it's so crazy that I have 58 concurrent viewers right now. What do you think is going to be the new quest at level 40? Oh, gosh, I don't know, man. I do not know. I do not know what I think that next quest will be. I have no idea. I'm sure it will be easy enough to do. But I think I need to call it here, guys. I still need to get out my video for tomorrow because I am in the office. And I hate to do this because we've got a lot of viewers right now. This was an awesome stream. We had a really good turnout tonight. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. Like the stream before you leave if you haven't already. Make sure you check out our other content. I'm going to be posting the video tomorrow that I'm going to post. We're going to be discussing just kind of the Lightspeed tokens, some of the free-to-play changes, and then we'll do some other, again, we'll try to get some other content on speculating what's to come. But tomorrow's video will kind of be a summary of a lot of what we talked about tonight. So I love you guys. This was a lot of fun. Great getting out in front of the camera for all of you. Again, appreciate the great one for the membership and the super chat, man. If you're still watching, cheers, my friend. Thank you, everyone.